Today we get the Season 3 patch notes, which include plenty of changes to multiplayer and Warzone, maybe a little bit of zombies, but obviously we get Rebirth Island today. So we'll go ahead and go through and we'll go ahead and kind of jump around, and we have the timestamps in the bottom if you want to go ahead and check that out. So for multiplayer, straightforward, we're getting 6 maps. We're getting a few different modes, some in season, some at the start. And then we're getting the new weapons, which are for all modes. We're getting the Horus, which is a submachine gun. And then we get the Moors, which is a sniper rifle. And then we get the Gladiator, which is the punch dagger. And those will all be available within the battle pass, or the free part of the battle pass. You just got to go to those areas to unlock it. The bow we'll get later on in season. We got a ton of new aftermarket parts, which will come out weekly. Obviously, those aren't all at launch, but we'll get those as they come out. We get some new equipment, try fresh tactics with 2 new equipment. We get an EMD mine, and that'll come in season, so not a big deal day 1. And then enhanced vision goggles, which we saw in the blog, again in season, so not a huge impact there. And then we got new perks. So we got the compression carrier, which assisted healing and gas protection. We get the modular assault rig, which is the lethal and tactical scavenger, which is pretty solid. And the gunslinger vest, which was underkill essentially. And then reinforced boots, immune to movement reduction effects. And then a high grain antenna, which is the mini map is zoomed out, like we have with the other perk when you're the Juggernaut, and some other things associated with that. New operators, quite a bit of new operators there, pretty much in the battle pass. And then new events, we're gonna get these 4 different new events. UIX, added unlock status to origin filter to operators and ability of latest. Okay, added new option setting menu to test all speakers and current audio setup. Seasonal cinematic cutscene can now be skipped. Tac stance status is now indicated on the HUD in the firing range. Weapon mastery emblem unlock requirements are now displayed in the customization menu. Adjusted various attachment descriptions of pros and cons lists to better reflect their true attributes, which I'm sure there's so many in there that are just like undervalued, underrated, because they're not necessarily demonstrating like what we have. Gunsmith attachment filters, change filters logic from and to or. Select filters can now reset after each session. Removed redundant locked and unlocked filters. Button now displays active engaged filters. I really wish they gave us a few more favorite options. Having limited to 10, especially when you go to different categories, it's like, well, I want maybe one of these 2 underbarrels, this optics, maybe these 3 different optics, these different muzzles. You just kind of run out of favorites. I think they should be up to like 15-ish, maybe. So that when you go and search, you don't have to search through the entire 75 optics. Bug fixes, killstreak HUD overlay will no longer persist after destruction by the Stormender. Additional perk slots are now displayed correctly in the kill cam. Nice. Applying certain weapon filters will no longer unexpectedly kick the player back to the menu. Improved alignment of values in columns on the scoreboard. Addressed an issue causing weapon mastery challenges to not accurately display the progress of previous completions. Calling card unlock criteria will now consistently appear upon hover. Nice. Resolved an issue preventing certain emblems from being added to favorites. Gameplay. Decreased obstructive visual effects while firing ooh, this is nice. MW2 weapons are basically getting rid of some of the visual clutter noise. We'll see how that looks. Remove variance from idle sway, ADS idle sway, allowing a predictable sway pattern. Okay. So I think whether just each season, I kind of predicted this on stream a week or so ago. I said each season they've done these mechanic changes to the aiming to make it feel closer to Warzone 1. Because when Warzone 2 came out, they introduced a bunch of nonsense. It looks like each season they've kind of taken a step to go towards that direction. Season 1, we had a specific change. Season 2, and then now Season 3. Our next step towards improving the feeling of aiming across all input devices in Modern Warfare. Cool. Progression. Added party bonus XP, allowing players to earn XP dependent upon the party size. 2, 3, and then if you're in a party of 4, they really want people playing in parties. Added an armory unlock challenge for the trebuchet break muzzle attachment. Okay, maps that went in and adjusted the various maps, whether it's spawns, different things like that. For Afghan DOS House, Meat Quarry, Shipment, Skid Row, quite a bit. Spore Yard can no longer exit playable area. Yeah, Tetanus, Vista, and then Operation Tin Man, which is the war map. And then we have modes. Private match, while in the CDL rule set is active, team kill penalty will no longer stack. Snipers only, limited time mode, restricted kill streak to UAV, advanced UAV, and MGB for that specific mode. Disabled melee attack, including fists. Nice. So this is still for multiplayer. We're gonna bounce around still, right? So weapons and attachments. So the RAM decreased neck damage multiplier from 1.3 to 1. Holger decreased upper leg damage and foot damage multiplier from 1 to 0.85. MCW decreased headshot multiplier from 1.3 to 1.1. DG56 increased sprint. These three could be impactful, I'm guessing, for multiplayer. When you impact damage or range, you can have impacts or recoil, right? When it comes to other changes like sprint to fire time, this won't be a game changer for that weapon. SOA changed its aim. This isn't going to be a big deal. These are nothing burgers if they don't change the other parts. BAS-B decreased rate of fire. That could be interesting because even though you slow down the rate of fire, you make it so that what happens is they can recenter, and it actually effectively changes the recoil pattern in some cases. So BAS-B could be interesting, but I'm guessing that is probably an overall nerf. We'd have to see kind of how the damage lays out. They did buff the Jack Outlaw, which is the aftermarket part though. Sidewinder decreased sprint. Okay. Bullet velocity. Yep. Raw RAM, AMR. Okay. None of these are damage. Or okay. Rival 9 decreased medium damage and near medium damage. So that could actually impact ranked and even the CDL style stuff with these damage various changes. And they actually decreased the lower torso, lower arm, and hand multipliers from 1.1 down to 1. That's probably the most notable one on here for the close range, because all these other ones are just sprint to fire, which they slightly increase sprint to fire time from 0.88 or 88 milliseconds to 99 milliseconds. So these are all effectively nerfs by 17, 3, 10, 25, and 13%. But again, nothing burgers compared to the ones that I emphasized. Shotguns added long haul 50 and wolf call muzzle attachments. We'll see if those do anything. Tachyvolver looks like nothing there. Decrease. Okay, so they did nerf the belt, and then they changed the fire rate for the 5.56 by 8%, and 14% is a reduction there. Bruin MK9 or Mark 9 decrease aim down. Okay, not a big deal. They actually sped it up quite a bit though. That's a lot faster. 60 milliseconds is a significant amount faster, but if you didn't like the way it felt shooting, it's probably not going to change how it feels shooting. But that is a huge difference, especially for multiplayer TTK over Warzone. RAL, it got quite a little bit of buff to different areas. Marksman MTZ Interceptor looks like it got nerfed a little bit. Sniper rifles got slowed down. I guess they're making room for this new sniper that's coming out today. We got the tier, termination range. It got increased. Nice, a buff for it. The gun's hard to use regardless. All right, and then a bunch of attachment changes. Decrease horizontal recoil, minor. Perks, okay, revised vest, description to clarify exactly what they're doing. For quick grip gloves, ordnance, and then marksman gloves. Stun grenade, tactical, decoy. Okay, they modified pretty much all the various ones. Those are changes that'll impact it depending on what you use. I know I use the decoy grenades to help level guns, so that'll be kind of one of those. And then all changes considered to be incendiary damage. Okay. Thermobaric grenade increased the radius and the damage. So they're trying to buff those so people use those. I think we really need like a changes to some of the tacticals because at least when it comes to Warzone, obviously smokes are prevalent, but we'll see kind of how that goes. Field upgrade, heartbeat sensor addressed an issue causing battery life to reset to 100 upon being put away. Okay. Resolved an issue preventing warning message from flying out of bounds. And then kill streaks. We got SAE, Wilson, and Swarm. Decreased the minimum delay from target acquisition. 500. Oh, damn. That got a huge buff then, right? Swarm balance adjustment went live in the update prior. Okay, so this was already in effect if you were already doing that. Then we get Modern Warfare 2 ranked, which that's kind of how that works. And that's multiplayer. And then we got the zombie stuff. So now we're in the zombies content. New content coming in season. We got mostly everything is mid-season. So I think we're not going to spend a ton of time on that. Unfortunately, I don't think there's much there. But gameplay, Perca-Cola, Ether Shroud addressed an issue that allowed Ether Shroud visual effects to remain on an operator in third person. And acquisition removed the ability to apply ether tools to vehicle turrets. Okay, Wonder Weapon addressed an issue that's transforming warlord bodyguards into zombies. And then the Jack Purifier decreased the amount of damage that the Purifier does. All right, there's some people pissed off about that. It's like, why nerf this? Who's complaining? Are the zombies complaining? I know that's the concern. I never really was a fan of this, even though I know it's broken. It just has the restock ammo issue. Prestige challenges, UI, UX, addressing issue containment level would overlap. Okay, and the stability fixes. Unfortunate for zombies, but you can kind of expect this is the tempo that basically all the content will be mid-season, and then the other modes mostly at the beginning of the season, and then the other modes don't get really anything for the mid-season. Now we get the Warzone patch notes, obviously the global stuff that we've already talked about, but we get returning map, Rebirth Island. Points of interest, we've talked to this and we've broken this down multiple times on stream, probably like 4 times over the past week. If you aren't in the streams, feel free to check those out near the top of the description. It's just over on Twitch if you haven't already followed. Infill strikes, so these will all be in season. Those in-game events right at the start before you jump out of the plane will impact one of these 3 different POIs, so we don't really even have to worry about that until the mid-season. New Warzone Bootcamp, this is specifically for new players. Returning Rebirth Resurgence, so that's gonna be 44 players. Vehicles will be enabled for Rebirth Island later in season 3, so that's probably like the helicopters and the other vehicles. Okay, we got playlist update. Let's see. Resurgence is all Rebirth Island. Urzikstan for solos, duos, trios, and quads. And then we get the ranked play, which is Rebirth right off the bat. And then Plunder is there. No lockdown for your lockdown enjoyers. All right, so I guess they're really encouraging people to play with other people so they get XP. It looks like you get more XP the multiple times you're playing with friends. If you're queued up with a friend, if you're squad fill enabled. Oh, so basically they just up the XP because a player queued with squad fill enabled, that's like most players. So they're just penalizing people who solo no fill. Cinematic infill improvements, we've increased the amount of time players are on the screen to improve the overall flow and better showcase player operations. And then pick 5 challenges, quality of life. Players can now select up to 5 challenges for easier tracking. I think we already had that set up where it was limited to 5. I wish they upped this to like 7 or 8. Be kind of cool, but we're in a good spot. Even with 5 is pretty solid if you have specific challenges you want to do. All maps, so buy station shuffle. We have adjusted the buy stations to encourage new combat scenarios. Squad assemble, new mechanic. On infill, squads that touch the ground within close proximity of one another will be rewarded with additional experience. Cash and advanced supply UAV. This disabled in ranked, lockdown, and plunder. Urzikstan Vondel Battle Royale, climb and punishment. That's the one with the 2 ladders come down, and you can choose to leave together or you know, play some games in the comms. Biometric scanners. So we got the biometric scanners around the island. Once per match, players who interact with one will receive one of many key cards, each which provide unique gameplay benefits when traded in at the buy station. So you can see the various ones there. Kind of already broken this down in the blog, but pretty straightforward. The higher the rarity of the card, you're going to get better items at the buy station, right? Then we get the spy drone contracts. You got to eliminate the swarms, so you just shoot those up, including up to 4 PRDs and an advanced UAV. This is a perfect contract. This is kind of crazy. That's a lot of stuff. 4 PRDs and an advanced UAV, especially if you're trying to play late game. You can stock up on those, do gas plays, and then advanced UAV just to help for like navigation around the map. If anyone is running Ghost and you're not running Bird's Eye. Staged weapons, similar to previous iteration of Rebirth. We've included a series of hand-selected locations, which would be like the sniper tower you land, and there's actually a sniper. There's a brew in a specific spot. It's probably not gonna be those weapons though. It's gonna be the current weapons in the game. Squad raids, that's a new field upgrade. Could be interesting. I think this one will probably need a nerf. And then Resurgence Champion quests, we'll be able to get there right away. So you're gonna get weapon camo, operator skin, and a few other things there. Adjusted, all maps, ground loot. Molotovs, thermites, and EMD grenades have been removed from the ground loot. Supply UAV improvements, quality of life, added new functionality highlights, okay? And now displays legendary and favorite. Ooh, that's good. So that one's even crazier because now it only displays those. So before it'd be like, all right, this is a hindrance. It actually messes up my mini map. So now these could actually be pretty valuable. Highlights through walls. That's cool too. All right, Urzikstan, heavy chopper balance. They basically are nerfing it, I'm guessing it. Heavy chopper has been a force to be reckoned with over rewarding those hunker down within With the above changes, the pilot now needs more regular and longer fuel. Okay, so they nerfed it. We're also rewarding expert use of C4 and Joker. Cool. Battle Royale, Gulag, loadout refresh. Those have been changed. It went from lasers and they changed it. We got the new weapons, the Horus, the Moors, and then it says right here, the single load rail delivers a high damage payload with excellent velocity and penetration. We'll see how that works in terms of one shot. If it's an infinite range, if it's one, how that works with specific setups. And then the Gladiator, which is the punch dagger. New aftermarket parts, those will come weekly. Yep, general adjustments, decrease obstructive visual effects. So the same thing that we had that they said in multiplayer that is also impacting Warzone, which is great. The visual effects to align with MW3 standards. Thankfully, hopefully we just continue to improve on that and we get closer to the MW 2019 visual effects standards. Remove variants of idle sway. Cool. And then we got weapon adjustments. So for the RAM, it looks like they went ahead and decreased the max damage, and the max damage is always the closest range damage. So that got decreased. The near mid damage is the middle damage right after that. And then the furthest damage was already kind of weak. It just was very good at the intermediate ranges and up close. It excelled. So they went and nerfed that as well as the range, the headshot modifier, and the neck. So it should feel significantly weaker. We'll see kind of how other things shift around. I thought the nerf would be a little bigger. And then we got the DG56, kind of a nothing burger. Lockman 556, damage increase. This could be good. But they didn't do the furthest range, which I'm a little surprised there. And then they did buff the modifier. So could be interesting. I don't think this is enough of a change for it to be much. Max, okay, nothing burger on that. Advancer, slight buff to the hand and arm modifier. Okay, Tempest Racerback, increased damage by 1. That's max damage, again, up close. We need to look at the min damage if we were looking for it to be a long range option. Baz B, decrease the fire rate. Okay, we saw that in the other portion. Decrease recoil center speed by 6%. Oh, so they already accounted for that. All right, and then the specific outlaw, they nerfed it. Nerfed. Okay, so this is, I don't think this does anything to change the meta. Max damage for the MTZ, it got nerfed again. They really don't want people using it, even though I think it kind of, people already veered away from it. And then Subverter, it gets slight nerf to range. Mid damage decrease range. Okay, kind of a nothing burger. They didn't adjust the recoil unless it's a stealth change. We'll have to see in game. Subverter isn't enough of a difference for people to mainline the meta with it. The Sign Widener gets a buff to bullet velocity. That's pretty significant, but I still don't think people will use it. Submachine guns. All right, so we get the Ram 9. It decreased the damage, max damage, that's up close, from 30 down to 27. This is significant because this will probably make it so that that one shot to the head doesn't lower the TTK. So this could be enough to make it less broken, but still viable. And then we got the AMR, decreased damage for max and min. I know some people are using this as a sniper support and even as a long range option. If you stacked it for bullet velocity, that might be less viable now, especially with the min damage decreased. Max damage range. Okay, they nerfed the range. This kind of brings it in line with the HRM. Okay. Oh no. What are they doing? Oh my God, that's going to be whack. All right, so they nerf these. These aren't even the main meta, but then they leave the HRM alone. This is crazy. Crazy. And not buffing anything to take its place. That new SMG better be goated because I'm tired of using the HRM. I don't know who else is, but I am. Striker. All right, nothing there. Nothing burger. Okay, Striker 9, WSP 9. Okay, they kind of sped these up and slowed them down a little bit. MX9 gets a little bit of a buff, but doesn't matter because you don't have a big enough mag to fight people. Max damage increase for the Lockman sub. Probably not worthwhile. We'll have to see. And the Bass P, cool, but I don't think that'll be enough. Then we got light machine guns. They did nerf the Bruin. The Eradicator gets a buff. I like the Eradicator, so this could actually be good. That's only up close though, so it doesn't really involve the other one. Tac Evolver, they kind of slowed it down a little bit. Yeah, slowed it down and then decreased the RPM of the belt feed. So that's a nerf if you use the 5.56. So you basically got to use the 7.62 ammo all the time. Rap H gets a slight buff, probably not noticeable. HCR, not really, probably not a worthwhile change. Growl, nothing there. Torrent, decrease the damage to 70. So they actually nerfed it. I guess it was a little broken up close, which it was, but we'll kind of see how that works. And then they slowed down some of the sniper rifles, which we saw in the multiplayer stuff. Max damage range increased, and then we got the WSP Stinger increased fire rate to 750. This could actually be crazy because this thing was a marshmallow shooter, and now it could be much better. So we'll see. Attachment, heavy bolts added. Initial aim accuracy benefit to all heavy bolts. The Cronin Inless laser is no longer visible to enemies at the hip. Razor, laser sight, flash sight is no longer visible to enemies at the hip. Box laser, no longer visible to enemies. Ooh, that's at all. Laser is no longer visible. Well, I guess we'll have to see which ones were popular. I don't think a lot of these were super popular. But we got the DR6 hand stop underbarrel and the L4R flash hider. Those were usable. Spirit fire, that one was also pretty common. A lot of the lasers, though, I guess is really niche depending on the specific weapon. Depending upon weapon class, decreased aim down sight movement speed benefit. So they want people to get away from this, I guess, for some of the SMGs. Heavy Bruin support underbarrel, decreased horizontal recoil benefit to 8% from 12. So it got a little bit of a nerf to the Bruin Heavy. They want people to get away from that. And I don't know why they do this, where they're making certain things worse to try and encourage people to use other stuff instead of just making things better. So people are like, ooh, must try, you know? So we'll see. Lethal adjustment, Semtex radius has been decreased. Outer edge does a little bit more damage though. So you get more accuracy there. EOD will now prevent the victim from going down if stuck. I thought this was already the case. I don't know. Breacher drone, it got increased radius, but it does less damage. Yes. And they sped it up. All right, this is kind of wonky. They want people to use those, I guess. A little bit of a buff on claymores. Molotovs do get a buff. Drill charges, looks like they're buffed as well. Yep, buffed. Thermobaric grenade, buffed. Proximity mine, buffed. When triggered by damage, okay, they got buffed. They do need to allow us to be able to go prone under prox mines again. I don't know what the heck they did, but they should allow us to prone and not take damage. It's too powerful. You're avoiding it. You're already in a compromised position because you can't move. So you're sitting duck. And I don't know. They need to fix that, but there it goes. C4 gets a slight buff. Detonation delay. Ooh. So when you throw it, you can actually, break it much quicker. Damage inner, it gets buff and buff and buff. Velocity. Oh, so you're going to be able to throw it further. Kind of crazy. Big buff to C4. Tactical, snapshots, grenades. Okay. Increase the duration. Wow. 5 seconds? They really want us to get away from the smoke, which is good. Will now persist their outlines if the victim is in smoke. Ooh. With the current ecosystem equipment, we want to provide opportunities to counterplay. With smokes being dominant item, snapshots will act as direct counter. With the change, we have required snapshots to have a line of sight. Okay, so they're useless for everything except for smokes. So literally you will counter with it. This could be an interesting one because if someone's like, oh my God, I got to get away, I smoked. You throw the snapshot, boom, we can see them. They're not going anywhere. Interesting. Scatter mine, it gets a little bit of a reduction, a little bit of a nerf. Mine debuff players for 3 seconds when they're hit. You get the frangible debuff. Mosquito drones, looks like they were nerfed. Yeah, nerfed quite a bit. And now they're visible on the map. So you can actually see them hovering with their ring around them. Build upgrades, armor box is reduced the number of armor plates supplied to 4. I don't think anyone was complaining about that. We have reduced the price of the armor. Okay, cool, I guess. Then resurgence ranked, did they change anything? It's up to 45. All right. All right, I'm looking. All the normal stuff that we're used to. Rewards high. Okay, so this hasn't really changed much. This, I think, did change, right? Updated for Rebirth. Final placements. Players earn SR based on their final placement at the end of the match. Players will see the SR added throughout the match. Reach top 10, you'll gain 15 SR. Reach top 7, you'll see another form of SR. So this, I think, is basically what we kind of had before. Yeah, I think it's basically the same. It's just the specific squad sizes. Before it used to be 5, I think, right here. It would be 8-5, but now it's 8-7. top 3, and then you get big juicy points for the win. Okay, so you always get your own SR displayed, okay? And then seasonal challenges, these are the ones that like at the start, boom, you'll be able to get that jump start. Death fees are intended to ensure every combat scenario. All right. Oh, good. Basically what it was already. I think, why is this having an asterisk? Updated for Rebirth. Okay, so that one specifically changed. What was it before? I thought Crim was like 6 probably. And then I think Iridescent was 7, and then top 250. I don't know. I don't remember. And then the deployment fees. Oh, it goes up to 300. They actually raised the penalty. Nice. I was interested to see if they were going to make it harder because there was a few people at the top still gaining a ton of SR. They made it 15 more from 285. Nice. Firing range, tac stance. Yep. Mastery emblem, clear team pings. Added an option. Ooh, you can clear. This one's cool, especially if you play with randoms and they ping stuff and you're like, I want to remove the pings, and you can't tell them, please, can you remove pings? I'm ready to jump into it. We'll see kind of how it goes. Let me know what you guys are most interested in. I'm a little disappointed in the meta changes, but we'll see how that goes. Appreciate the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.